That is on our list.
That way people could submit what they would like to put in there, but they could also, it'd have to be donations. So you could take a donation and your item could be placed in, donation item placed in, and then you could generate some income on that.
Right.
And I think it'd be interesting to have a time capsule, especially
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
You're holding a lot of people's lives in there. That's a long time period.
Mm-hmm.
So they have spoken about it.
We have spoken about it, but thank you for bringing it up.
Anything you want to say about the 501c3? I assume, Maureen, you're chairman of that now? No? Yes? You are? You spoke of it, okay.
I'm vice chair, unfortunately.
Okay.
Or I've got made vice chair.
Anything you want to say about the 501c3? Friends of Mountain View?
What would you like to know?
Mountain View community? What's...
Well, we've got an event planned. We're getting our ducks in a row as far as our filings are concerned. I had to get approval from the state as well as the federal government. I think that's all been sent in and going forward. We're getting a fundraising plan together.
Okay.
And we're feeling pretty happy with
There's an
it.
event coming up, right? For
19th. And you'll be coming, so.
Okay.
All the members of the building committee.
What is the mission statement again from the 501c3?
It's in your red book, the Carroll County.
Oh, what is that?
It's to raise money to benefit the residents.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Babson.
Mr. Chairman, how was that ever resolved with the delegation? As I recall, they took the vote that night
501c3? Yeah, go ahead.
over at the nursing home, and it was predicated on Representative Algren's magnificent idea of a 503 or 501, whatever it is.
501c3.
The first $1 million or $2 million, as I recall, was going to go to pay down the bond.
Do you remember him saying a 501c3 and the $2 million together? I don't remember him saying that.
Yes, I do.
Both of them together?
Yep.
And that, well, any
But
comment?
as we found out going down the road, that the 503 has to be a private corporation, and the delegation can't tell. Has anything had been said to the delegation that they now have to come up with another $2 million to?
Were you at the meeting the last time the delegation met?
Yep.
Did you know? I read the.
We had that conversation at that point in time. The vote was actually taken in this room, because I remember sitting in this chair and looking at that chair and telling Representative Ogden that this was a bad idea, not well thought out. Representative Chandler also weighed in and said, because during that discussion, Representative Ogden wanted the first $2 million that was raised.
Right.
Representative Chandler came back with, or initially he wanted that $2 million to be raised before ground was broken. And Representative Chandler weighed in with the reality that we may never break ground, because raising $2 million for a nonprofit takes a significant amount of time. Then it was changed to, well, then we should direct the 501c3, which had already sent in its application at that point in time. So it wasn't as if it hadn't been created, and now Representative Algren wanted to create something to raise money. 501c3 had been created, or was in the process of being created, because it already sent its filing into the IRS. So at that point in time, once he had the discussion with Representative Chandler, it was reduced, or the language was changed to the first $2 million raised by the 501c3 will be paid to the county to pay down the debt.
That's right.
It totally subverts the nature of how we set up our government, because first of all, that's not a position that the delegation can enforce. They have no statutory ability to enforce it, even if the 501c3 were a portion of the government, which it isn't. So in a, I guess an attitude of comedy, that's with an M, we get to 501c3, we're trying to figure out how we can accommodate this notion of the $2 million. So we, Maureen approached the Attorney General's office, and I approached the Internal Revenue Service to see if there's any opportunity here. The Attorney General's office said, no, it's not in your mission statement, it's not going to happen. You can't do it. It's against the law for you to do it. The Internal Revenue Service said that, in fact, you probably couldn't give a donor a tax benefit
write-off
from donating to that reduction in the bond payment, because it's essentially property taxes generated from the local property that pays debt for county government. So we're running up against two problems there. So what we had thought to do was still present to whoever was donating money, if they're donating large sums, say you have an opportunity to do it either to benefit the residents of the nursing home or to pay down the debt. But if you pay down the debt, you have to do it through the county. You have to, your donation has to be made out to the treasurer of Carroll County, and we still have to inform them that there is a likelihood that they wouldn't get a tax advantage from doing it. So that's sort of where it ended up. But then the dialogue started to get a little strident with McConkey and Aldrin, because, you know, their notion was wrong. And they, you know, it isn't going to happen the way they want it to happen. So my worry on Monday is that if it gets too strident, that it's just going to be a matter of us as the 501c3 saying no. I mean, there's no way that you can enforce this. There's no way that the vote has any validity. So no. And stop working altogether towards this goal of the $2 million debt reduction. That said, there's, you know, how many $2 million increments do you need? There will be a $2 million savings that I can still see in the building itself, the savings in the building. So if the goal was to reduce the amount of indebtedness to $21,500,000 versus $23,500,000, then it's been accomplished. You know, I'm not certain what, you know, what is their bottom line? Is that they don't want us to raise any money for the benefit of the residents, and if that's the case, then we're just going to have to, you know.
Well, I agree with everything that Chip said. My only recollection is, you've said this all happened here. Well, the money, the delegation had to vote on it before that could all happen. In my recollection, discussion of the 503 was over here. It had further discussion here, but one of them, I thought, tacked it on as an amendment over in the nursing home.
The motion was here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that happened, but the actual vote to finance the nursing home finally happened over, as you say, over in the old nursing home. But, you know, that said, I mean, I have as good a memory as the next guy. The only votes that changed because of that were Aldrin and McConkey. If they had voted no, it wouldn't have changed the outcome. It just would have made the majority less. Representative Umberger can wring her hands over this deal. She voted no. It wouldn't have changed her vote because she already was voting no. Representative Chandler voted no on the new nursing home. So they really don't have anything to say about it. If there was some motivation that changed these people's vote, it was only McConkey and Aldrin that were changed by it.
Refresh my memory, Julie. Wasn't it an 11-3 vote? And Aldrin, Umberger, and Chandler?
No, it's just Chandler and Umberger. 12-2. Because Aldrin said he wouldn't vote for it unless he had the $2 million. They voted and made the motion voted.
Can I throw out a suggestion that the 501c3 might take advantage of for fundraising, and that is work with a landscaper to see if paving bricks or whatever might be used in the gardens or someplace where a person might donate a brick or a paving stone.
At the last 501c3 meeting, landscaping did come up. we have to put together a list of priorities for where money that we do raise is spent. But it also needs to, we need to have a dialogue, but I don't think at that point in time you had a landscape
Okay,
designer on board.
Yep.
So
yep,
that was what
okay. Yes, David?
The commission, the delegation can appropriate money, but can they sort of reverse appropriate money? Can they take back $2 million?
No. I mean,
It's been bonded, how can they take it
yeah,
back?
it's been bonded. It's sort of like, let's tear down the old nursing home. Well, then we're gonna pay back $500,000 to the federal government for the money that we've gotten for the pellet boilers. I mean, there are ramifications to every move you make. And I think that we could come up with any number of examples of how this particular project costs significantly less and has a better return than was expected when we were having that debate back then.
I could just see this new delegation saying, the old delegation approved $23 million under the false pretense that there was gonna be $2 million from this 501c. Now that there isn't, we're gonna cut $2 million somewhere to make up for it. That's what I could see them doing, but.
So
Right.
if they were to say, we're not gonna pay, we wanna pay $21,500,000, that's gonna be accomplished by the fact that the building is gonna come in at that.
Oh, I agree. I think that's likely, but just it seems like a bunch of these guys, at least Auburn voted for this project under the premise that they'd find $2 million some 501c. And I'm wondering if they'll get some kind of revenge if that doesn't.
If you look at the way donations have happened at Huggins Hospital, at Memorial Hospital, at any of these large healthcare operations, there are very few large donors. And we would probably be looking at a number of years before we've accomplished $2 million. During that period of time, no money that we raise would be able to be for the benefit of the people who are in there as residents. I mean, if that's what they want for an outcome, I think, we're gonna have a long chat about it.
And just to add to that, I mean, that's pretty much why I suggested it should be chair and not me, but this group, all of us that started it, it was for the benefit of the residents. It wasn't to reduce taxes. All the money that we raise is to make their life better.
Mhm.
And I don't think anybody in that group went into it thinking anything different, even knowing what the vote was. So, Terry Knowles said no, the IRS said no, move on.
The mission statement says that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read it in where's your red book?
Red, I don't have a red
County
book.
report.
Yeah, your
Oh,
county
okay,
report. It's
all right.
right in there.
Okay,
I mean, I'm sorry, I just think you're beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Let's
And it's-
move on.
And
Yeah.
it's using a device that, I mean, it's not what the intention of the statute or the creation of 501c3 tax exempt
Exactly.
nonprofits was meant to be for. I mean, you're taking something and bastardizing it into some form that wasn't ever intended to exist.
yeah.
I mean, and if that were the case, if it were the case that people could donate money to reduce the indebtedness of the county, then why aren't all their delegates out knocking on doors and asking businesses to pay more taxes or pay more money and reduce the debt of the county?
Yeah.
I mean, and how successful would they be at that? I have to wonder.
I have made a statement that I'm going to donate $1,000 of daylilies. Is that something that should go through the 501c3?
We're gonna have to find another $1,000 matching fund, I guess. Yeah, it should. Why not? I mean, I think
What do you need?
we have a structure in place so that you'll be able to take some tax advantage for that donation, whatever that might be. You'll get thanked for it. You'll get noticed in the newsletter. And we're trying to put together a format, if you will, that will enable people to give and be recognized for giving and thanked for it.
Okay.
There's talk about doing a place on the wall for people that donate.
We have some resistance to that, but.
Well,